Well, hello there. Welcome to the Deadly Analysis Podcast. Today I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about and recommend a book to you. Up until this point in the podcast, we've only really talked about movies and, to a certain extent, television shows. But at a certain point, it's hard to ignore the world of horror literature, which many of the films that we've covered in this podcast actually find their origin in. And so the book I want to briefly talk about and recommend today to you is The Fisherman by John Langan. I was first introduced to John Langan on the Lovecraft eZine podcast, linked to it in the description. One of my recent interests has been finding really well-written, modern Lovecraftian-inspired stories. And the reason for that is, in my view, I think the cosmic fears that are expressed in Lovecraft's work have only had time to marinate over the last 100 years, right? And so I've just been on the lookout for books that sort of reflect this kind of Lovecraftian style of writing and fear expression. And John Langan's The Fisherman is a good one. I listened to it on Audible, and it was fantastic. And the story is basically about a man named Abe and his friend Dan, and both of these two men are widowers who have kind of found solace in each other's company and in their shared passion for fishing. And so these two men, Abe and Dan, they hear rumors about a fishing spot called Dutchman's Creek in upstate New York. Now, Dutchman's Creek has a very intriguing past, we'll say. Many a warning is given by the local townsfolk not to go up to this hidden creek and to go fishing there. And so, of course, the two men make their way to Dutchman's Creek, and when they do, they unravel a tale of terrifying town secrets, blood pacts, dark magic, and the legend of a mythical figure known as Der Fisher. So without spoiling it, here's why I like this book. First and foremost, this book is about trauma and loss. It's about losing your spouse, and in the case of Abe's friend Dan, losing your spouse and your kids. It takes the world of emotional pain and then weaves together a dark tale of otherworldly things. And one of the things Langan does in this book is he spends an enormous amount of time on getting to know the characters. And in the case of Abe, not just getting to know him, but also empathizing with him, getting to know his innermost thoughts and fears. And those thoughts and fears suddenly become deeply intertwined with the Lovecraftian elements of the unknown and the otherworldly. And maybe a semi-spoiler? Possibly. I don't think it is, but maybe. There's a real sense in this book that there exists a whole other world underneath ours to which much of our fears and really even the concepts we use in our day-to-day world, where they find their referent. There's almost like a platonic element in the book, and the way it's used is one of the most unique things I've ever read. There's evil, dark magic, ethereal stuff being explored through the vehicle of something as mundane as fishing. And I don't mean mundane as an insult, but just the idea of an outworking of a very simple hobby. It's not like Abe and Dan are explorers or adventurers. They're two old dudes who've seen the worst of the world, and they're trying to escape it to a certain extent through the calm of fishing. But it ends up being this calm that provides the gateway to a bunch of really interesting and very terrifying things. Full disclosure, this book is fairly long, has a kind of Moby Dick type feel to it in terms of style and metaphor, which, by the way, reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, and it comes from Ron Swanson. He once said, "Metaphors? I hate metaphors. That's why my favorite book is Moby Dick. No frou-frou symbolism, just a good simple tale about a man who hates an animal." So I hope you found this video informative. Go read the book. It's a great book. If you enjoy Lovecraft, I think this will do some work for you. It pays a almost perfect homage to a lot of Lovecraft's writings. And if you've read The Fisherman, let me know your thoughts below. Leave a comment. If you also have any other Lovecraftian-style books that you want to recommend, let me know. Post a comment and kind of help me expand my list. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and we'll see you next time.